Single mom, texted the wrong number begging for baby formula money. Turns out, she just messaged a billionaire. And what did he did next? Nobody, and I mean nobody, was ready for it. Imagine being completely broke, desperate for money to buy baby formula, and accidentally sending a plea for help to a complete stranger. Not just any stranger, but a billionaire. This is Sarah's true story. Her wrong number text was the start of an incredible journey that changed her life overnight. You won't believe what happened next. Stay tuned to see how a single text message turned a struggling single mom's life of desperation into a world of endless opportunity. The notification pinged on Sarah's phone, jolting her out of the exhaustion that seemed to follow her everywhere these days. She had just finished a double shift at the diner and was now sitting in the park, trying to catch a moment of peace as her infant son, Charlie, slept in the stroller. She glanced at the message, her heart pounding in her chest. "Hi, I'm desperate. I need baby formula money. Can you help?" Her fingers froze as she read the words. The message was meant for her sister, but this wasn't her sister's number, it was a stranger's. The name on the screen read David Holt. Her stomach sank as she stared at the message. A billion thoughts raced through her mind. Why was she texting a stranger for help? Why had she even sent that message to the wrong number? She thought about deleting it, but it was already there, lingering in the digital ether. Too late now. She stared at the blinking cursor on the screen, the word send already haunting her. She could feel the weight of her situation, the mounting debt, overdue bills, and the relentless worry about how she was going to feed Charlie for the rest of the month. But asking a stranger for help, that felt different. It felt wrong. Still, she couldn't undo what she'd done. With a sigh, she decided to just reply. "Sorry, I meant to send that to someone else. My sister. I'm struggling right now. I don't have enough money to buy formula for my baby." She hit send, almost immediately regretting it. What if this person thought she was scamming them? What if they ignored her completely? The phone buzzed again. "Is this for real?" the message read. Sarah stared at the screen. What should she say? She'd already admitted her situation, but could she really explain just how bad it had gotten? She felt embarrassed, humiliated even. The last thing she wanted was for this stranger to think less of her. But there was something in the way he'd responded, the kindness in his words, that made her wonder if this could be different. "Yeah, it's real," Sarah typed before adding. I don't have enough for formula. I'm working 2 jobs, but it's not enough to cover everything. I'm doing my best, but some days it's just not enough." She stared at the message for a moment before pressing send. There, she had said it, and now she had to wait for him to decide what to do with it. Seconds passed, minutes. She wanted to put the phone down, but she couldn't. Her heart pounded in her chest, every vibration from the phone making her stomach flip. Finally, the phone buzzed again. "I understand. You don't have to be embarrassed. Can you tell me more about your situation? How old is your baby?" The tone was gentle, patient, almost like he was genuinely interested in her. Sarah hesitated, unsure of how much to share. She wasn't used to asking for help, especially from strangers, but something about his words felt safe. She typed slowly, recounting how she had become a single mom and how she was doing everything she could to provide for Charlie. Her voice was soft, almost hesitant, but she felt compelled to tell him the truth. "My son's 2 months old. I lost my job at the retail store a few weeks ago. I work as a waitress now, but it's hard to make ends meet. Rent's overdue, bills are stacking up, and I just don't know what to do anymore. I can barely afford the basics, let alone the formula." She hit send, then put the phone down, almost immediately regretting her vulnerability. Why had she shared so much? Why did she feel like she could trust this person? The response came quickly. "I get it. I've been through tough times before. I'll help you out. Don't worry about the formula. I'll cover it for the next few months. Let me know the exact amount you need." Sarah stared at the screen in disbelief. Her breath caught in her throat. Had she read that right? Did he really just say he would help her? She rubbed her eyes, unsure if she was imagining it. But no, the message was still there, plain as day. "Wait," she typed back. "You can't be serious. I can't just take money from you like that. I don't even know you." "I understand. David replied. "But I've been where you are. I don't mind helping. If I can, I will. This is not a loan, just a gift. You don't have to worry about paying it back. You're doing your best, and that's all anyone can do." The sincerity in his words struck her hard. Her hands trembled as she stared at the message. This wasn't a scam or a joke. It was real. But could she accept this kind of help? Could she accept charity from a complete stranger, especially one so wealthy? Was she worth it? A small voice in her head told her she didn't deserve this, that she should somehow find another way to manage. But Charlie needed the formula. Her pride, her embarrassment didn't matter anymore. Her baby did. She took a deep breath and typed the amount she needed, just enough to get by. She didn't know how long it had been since she sent that last message, but when the reply came, it was even more unexpected than before. "I'm sending you a check for that amount and a little extra. I'll make sure you and your son are taken care of. Don't worry about anything else for now." The phone buzzed again, and this time it was a notification from her bank app. She opened it without thinking. Her jaw dropped when she saw the deposit, more than she'd ever imagined. It was enough to cover Charlie's formula for months, enough to pay off a few bills, and still leave her with some breathing room. Her head spun. Was this really happening? Sarah sat motionless, staring at her phone, the gravity of what had just happened settling over her. She had been so used to carrying the weight of her struggles alone, doing everything she could just to keep going, that the unexpected kindness from a stranger felt surreal. The money had been deposited into her account, and it was more than enough to cover her immediate needs. It wasn't just the formula, either. It was a weight lifted from her shoulders that she hadn't realized she'd been carrying for so long. She ran a hand through her hair, trying to process everything. Was this real? Was David truly someone who just wanted to help, or was there a catch? She looked at Charlie, sleeping peacefully in the stroller, and for the first time in a long time. She felt like maybe everything would be okay. Maybe this was the break she needed. Maybe things weren't as hopeless as they had seemed. The next morning, Sarah woke up early, her phone buzzing as soon as she opened her eyes. She had expected a message from a friend or family member, but instead, it was another message from David. "I hope you received the money. Please let me know if everything went through okay. And if you ever need anything else, don't hesitate to reach out." Her heart skipped. Was he serious? She'd already been overwhelmed by his generosity, but the thought of reaching out to him again, after all, he was a billionaire, felt out of her league. Still, there was something genuine in his offer, something that made her feel like maybe she wasn't completely alone in this world. She typed back, "I got it, and thank you so much. You've truly made a difference for me and Charlie. I don't know what else to say." A few minutes passed before David's reply came. "It's no problem, you don't have to thank me. But I've been thinking, if you're open to it, I'd like to help you in other ways. I know that money isn't everything. What about a job? I run a company and we're always looking for good people." Her mind raced. A job? Could this really be happening? She wasn't qualified for some high-end corporate position, was she? What could a billionaire like David want with someone like her? But then, the thought of stability, of being able to provide for Charlie without worrying every single day, made her pause. She felt a lump in her throat. Could I do this? The moment of hesitation passed quickly, replaced by a wave of gratitude. This man didn't owe her anything, and yet here he was, offering something she never would have dreamed of, a chance at a new life, a way out of the constant struggle. "I'm open to hearing more," she typed, her fingers shaking slightly. She knew this was a turning point, but she didn't want to jump to conclusions. She couldn't afford to be naive. Still, the opportunity felt too big to pass up. David's reply came quickly. "That's great to hear. I'll have someone from my team reach out to you soon. But more than anything, I just want you to know that you're not alone in this. You're doing a great job, Sarah." The words stung. They were simple, but they were the kind of words she'd never really heard from anyone before. Words that recognized her effort, her struggle, her humanity. She let out a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. For the first time in a long time, she felt like maybe she wasn't as invisible as she'd thought. A week passed. The days blurred together as Sarah navigated the dizzying mix of emotions that had become her new reality. She was still working her 2 jobs, but now she had hope. And that hope came in the form of a call from David's assistant, who was setting up an interview for a position at one of David's companies. "Hi, Sarah," the assistant said brightly. "We'd love to have you come in for an interview. David spoke highly of you, and we think you'd be a great fit. Can we schedule it for tomorrow?" Sarah could hardly believe it. An interview? She hadn't had an interview in years. The idea of working for David, who had so generously offered her help, was surreal. But the reality was there, tangible, just a phone call away. "Yes, of course," she replied, her voice slightly breathless. "Tomorrow works." The next day she put on her best clothes, clothes that hadn't seen the light of day in ages, but they were the nicest things she had. She arrived at the office building, her heart racing. She had never been to a corporate office before, and the sleek, polished lobby made her feel like she didn't belong. But she shook off the nerves, took a deep breath, and told herself that she was here on her own merit. David had given her a chance, but she had to prove herself now. The interview went better than she could have ever imagined. The team was kind, professional, and surprisingly down-to-earth. The job was entry-level, but it was a start. More than anything, it was the stability she had longed for. When she left the building, her head was spinning, but this time it wasn't from fear. It was from possibility. Later that evening, as she sat on the couch, holding Charlie close, Sarah's phone buzzed again. It was a text from David. "How did the interview go? I hope they treated you well." A smile tugged at the corners of her mouth. She typed back, "It went really well. Thank you again for everything, David. You have no idea what this means to me." David's response came almost immediately. "I'm glad to hear that. You deserve this, Sarah. You're doing great, and I'm excited to see where this takes you." Sarah leaned back, Charlie's small body nestled against hers. She thought about everything that had happened in the past week: the money, the job opportunity, the kindness from a stranger who had become a lifeline. She could hardly believe it. It was a new chapter, one she hadn't even known she was allowed to dream of. Days turned into weeks, and Sarah's life began to feel like it was moving in slow motion, each moment filled with a strange sense of both anticipation and disbelief. She had taken the job offer, and while it wasn't glamorous, it was stable. The office was clean, the people were kind, and for the first time in a long time, she wasn't worried about where the next meal would come from or how she would stretch her paycheck to cover the rent. But even as things seemed to be falling into place, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that her life was teetering on the edge of something bigger. A sense of unease lingered, a quiet voice in the back of her mind, wondering how long this streak of good luck could possibly last. It was one of those quiet afternoons when Sarah sat at her desk, typing away at her computer, that she received a call that would change everything. "Sarah," it was David's voice on the other end. "I hope I'm not disturbing you, but I wanted to check in. How are you doing?" His voice, as always, was warm and sincere, but there was an undercurrent of something deeper. Sarah's heart fluttered. She hadn't spoken to him in a few days, just the usual texts here and there, and she had started to feel a strange connection with him. It wasn't just the financial help he had given her. It was his consistent support and genuine interest in her life. "I'm doing well, actually," she replied, her voice steady despite the nerves bubbling beneath her surface. "The job's going fine, and things are better. I don't know what to say, but I'm really grateful." David's laugh was light, but there was a seriousness behind it that caught Sarah off guard. "Listen, Sarah, I've been thinking. You've come a long way in such a short time, and I want to help you even more. I'm going to be in town next week for a few meetings, and I'd love to meet up with you. I have an opportunity I think you'd be perfect for." Sarah blinked, unsure of what to say. Meet him? Why? Her mind raced. She didn't even know how she felt about this man, not in a romantic sense, but more in the sense of his impact on her life. He was a stranger who had changed everything for her, and now he wanted to meet. I don't know," she stammered. "I mean, I've really appreciated everything you've done for me, but I don't think I'm in the right place to meet you. I don't want to take up more of your time." There was a pause on the other end of the line, and for a moment, Sarah wondered if she had said the wrong thing. But then David's voice came through, calm and reassuring. Sarah, I'm not trying to make you feel uncomfortable. I truly believe in what you're capable of, and I think this could be a good opportunity for you. Don't worry about the details right now. Let's just meet, talk for a bit, and see what happens. If it's not right for you, no pressure. His words carried weight, and for some reason, they made her reconsider. Maybe this was the next step. Maybe this wasn't just some random act of charity, but a way for her to truly get ahead in life. She needed to stop running from opportunities, and this could be the one that changed everything. Okay, she said, her voice more confident than she felt. I'll meet you. What day works for you? The day of the meeting arrived faster than she expected. Sarah had spent the night tossing and turning, wondering what to wear, what to say. She didn't want to come across as too eager, but at the same time, she didn't want to be distant either. She wanted to show that she was capable, that she wasn't just some charity case. But what could she say to someone like David, someone who had already changed her life? She arrived at the upscale cafe, heart pounding, a slight tremor in her hands. As she stepped inside, she felt completely out of place. The sleek, modern decor and the well-dressed clientele made her feel like she had wandered into a world she didn't belong in. But as soon as she spotted David, sitting at a corner table with a calm, confident demeanor, all her nerves seemed to dissipate. Sarah, he greeted, standing to shake her hand. I'm so glad you came. She smiled, feeling a little less out of place now that she was in front of him. Thanks for inviting me. They sat down, and as Sarah sipped her coffee, David started talking about his vision for the company, about his own rise to success, and the projects he was working on. He didn't come across as arrogant or pretentious. Instead, he seemed like someone who had been through the grind and understood the struggles. You know, David said after a while, I've been thinking about how to make this opportunity more accessible to people who need it most. I want to create something bigger than just handing out money. I want to build something that can make a real, lasting impact. Sarah listened intently, intrigued by what he was saying. She had no idea where this conversation was going, but the more he spoke, the more she realized that he wasn't just offering her a job or a handout. He was offering her a chance to be part of something meaningful. You've shown a lot of resilience, Sarah, he continued. I want to offer you a role with more responsibility, something where you can grow and make a real impact. What do you think? The words hit her like a wave. A role with more responsibility, a real opportunity. This was more than just a job, it was a chance to change her future. To change Charlie's future. The weight of the decision hit her immediately. She wasn't just fighting to survive anymore. Now she was being handed the chance to thrive. I don't know what to say, she whispered, feeling tears prick at the corners of her eyes. This is everything I've wanted and more. David smiled softly. Take your time, I'm not rushing you, but know that I believe in you, Sarah. You've got this. The days following Sarah's meeting with David felt like a whirlwind. She couldn't stop replaying their conversation in her head, trying to decipher whether she was truly ready to step into this new chapter of her life. The offer David had extended was more than just a job. It was a doorway to something bigger, something she never thought she'd have access to. But every step forward felt like a leap into the unknown, and Sarah had never been one to jump without hesitation. But now, after everything she'd gone through, hesitation wasn't something she could afford. She had Charlie to think about. She couldn't keep scraping by, barely making ends meet, worrying about the next bill or the next feeding. She had to seize this chance, even if it felt like a stretch. The decision was made. Sarah accepted the role. It wasn't an easy decision, but it was the right one. The next few weeks passed in a blur. Sarah dove into her new role with determination, and her skills were quickly recognized. She found herself working closely with David and his team on various projects. The work wasn't glamorous. She wasn't stepping into a high-paying executive position right away, but it was a start, and she was good at it. The more she worked, the more she realized how much potential she had. With every project, her confidence grew. The skills she had honed during her years of juggling multiple jobs, time management, problem-solving, communication, were valuable in the business world too. She was a quick learner, and she knew how to get things done. But it wasn't just her professional growth that kept her going. It was the way David treated her. From the very beginning, he had shown nothing but respect and kindness. He didn't see her as a charity case or someone to pity. He saw her as someone capable of achieving greatness. And his support wasn't just about money. It was about empowering her, helping her realize her potential. David was always there when she needed advice. He offered guidance on everything from her professional growth to personal development. They talked about leadership, about taking risks, and about the importance of self-belief. His mentorship wasn't about telling her what to do. It was about asking the right questions, pushing her to think beyond her limitations. One evening, after a particularly long day at the office, Sarah sat down to text David. She had been thinking about how much her life had changed since that first message. She had gone from barely scraping by, unsure of how she'd get through the next week, to being part of a company that was growing and thriving. It was more than she could have ever imagined. She typed out the message. "Thank you for everything. I don't think I would have made it without your help. I'm so grateful for the opportunity you've given me. I never thought I'd be here." A few moments later, the response came. "You've done the work, Sarah. You're the one who made this happen. I'm proud of you." His words hit her hard. She had worked for everything she had, but his faith in her had made all the difference. It was a reminder that she wasn't in this alone anymore. She had support, real, tangible support, from someone who believed in her. But even as she was moving forward, Sarah couldn't shake the nagging feeling in the back of her mind. She had learned to trust David, but there was still something she didn't fully understand about him. Why had he gone out of his way to help her in the first place? Was it just philanthropy, or was there something else? A few weeks after Sarah's promotion, she decided to ask David herself. It wasn't an easy question to ask, but it had been weighing on her. One afternoon, she found herself in David's office, the hum of the city below providing the only sound in the room. The quiet tension between them was palpable. "David," she began, her voice uncharacteristically hesitant. "I've been meaning to ask you something. I know you've done so much for me, and I can't thank you enough for that. But I have to ask, why me? Why did you reach out to someone like me?" David's expression softened. He leaned back in his chair, his fingers interlaced in front of him. For a moment, he didn't speak, and Sarah could feel the weight of his silence. "It's a good question," he said finally. "When I was starting out, I had people who helped me, people who saw potential in me when I couldn't see it myself, and I wanted to pay that forward. But more than that, when I read your message, something clicked. I don't know how to explain it, but I saw you. I saw someone who was doing their best, even when the world was pushing against them, and I wanted to help, not out of pity, but because I believe in you. I've seen people in your situation who have gone on to do amazing things, and I wanted to give you the chance to do that too." Sarah sat there, absorbing his words. It wasn't about charity or obligation. It was about seeing the potential in someone else, even when they couldn't see it in themselves. And that was the kind of help Sarah had needed. Not a handout, but a hand up. For the first time in her life, she realized that this wasn't a fluke. This wasn't just a stroke of luck. This was the start of a new beginning. She wasn't a victim of her circumstances anymore. She was a woman on a mission with a purpose. And it was time to embrace it fully. As the weeks went by, Sarah continued to thrive. Her relationship with David remained professional, but there was an unspoken bond between them now, a bond formed through mutual respect and shared goals. She had taken the opportunities he had given her and used them to fuel her own success. And while she had come a long way, Sarah knew there was still much more to accomplish. One day, as she sat at her desk, reviewing a new project proposal, a message popped up on her phone. It was from David. "I've been thinking. It's time to take things to the next level. I'm offering you a position with a larger scope, more responsibility, and a bigger salary. Are you ready?" Sarah stared at the message, a sense of awe filling her. This wasn't just a job offer, it was a life-changing opportunity. But more than that, it was a reminder of everything she had fought for, everything she had overcome. She smiled, her heart full. "I'm ready," she typed back. The future was wide open now, and Sarah was finally ready to step into it, with her head held high, her son by her side, and a new world of possibilities ahead of her. "What do you think? Could you take the leap like Sarah did? What's holding you back? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more amazing stories like this one. Thank you for reading. The story of Sarah's transformation is now complete. This should wrap up the arc and leave the viewer with a sense of hope, while encouraging them to engage with the video.